The Toronto Raptors are one win away from their first ever NBA title after a 105-92 victory over the Golden State Warriors Friday night. The Raptors easily handled the two-time defending champions in Game 4 at Oakland's Oracle Arena. Raptors star Kawhi Leonard had a dominating third quarter and led Toronto with a 36-point and 12 rebounds. The two teams will play again on Monday when the Raptors will have a chance to close it out at home. Reid Forgrave joins us now from Minneapolis to break down the finals. He's an NBA writer for CBS Sports.com. Reid, are you surprised? Are you surprised at how dominant the Raptors have been against the Warriors?
Certainly surprised they've been this dominant. I don't think anybody could have seen this series ending in 5 games in favor of the Raptors. But am I surprised that the Raptors are hanging in there with this Golden State Warriors team that has been, the best dynasty in the NBA since Michael Jordan, the Chicago Bulls? No. I mean, this team is perfectly constructed for playoff basketball. The addition of Kawhi Leonard in the offseason, what they did was they added a guy. They took some risk. I mean, they went all in on 1 year of Kawhi Leonard's contract, and they went all in on it not knowing whether he was going to be healthy. But what they got is a guy who was then and is now the best two-way player in the NBA. And the NBA being a two-way game, basketball being a two-way game, that means I think Kawhi Leonard might right now be the best basketball player on earth. And they just have this team that has been perfectly constructed around Kawhi and his strengths. It's not a surprise to me that the Raptors have been right there with the Warriors because of that dominant defense. This defense has been absolutely elite these entire playoffs.
So, there's no sign, though, I've got to ask you on another topic, as to when or if Kevin Durant could come back. But let's say he does. Could he turn around this series for Golden State?
Absolutely. I mean, you're getting a top 3 player, maybe top 2 player in the NBA in Kevin Durant. Who knows if he does come back, whether he'll be at 50% or 80% or 100%. No matter what percentage he's at, the Warriors clearly need one more scorer on the floor. Their offense has at times just ground to a halt. They've not been good enough on the defensive end. But look, you add Kevin Durant to this team, that's the team that we thought was going to run through the entire NBA this season. Obviously, there's been drama. Obviously, there's been injuries. There have been speed bumps along the way. But I do think one of the most impressive storylines that could possibly come out of these finals would be the Warriors down 3-1, Kevin Durant to come back, and for him to just go bananas for 3 games, win Finals MVP after only playing 3 games in the series. That would be an incredible cap to this dynasty.
You dream big. Like, you're very vivid about how you want this to end, huh?
He's going to score 46 in Game 5. 42 is going to struggle a little bit in Game 6. But then that game-winning 3 with about 14.6 seconds left in Game 7, it's going to really be, show us that he's the MVP of this league.
So not to deflate that balloon in any way, let's say the Warriors do lose the finals. Do you think it's the end of a dynasty?
It's interesting. I don't. The tea leaves all say Kevin Durant's leaving. Some say it's to the Brooklyn Nets. Some say it's to the New York Knicks. Could be elsewhere. But we all know he's a free agent this season. It's hung over the Warriors this entire season. However, you look at the rest of this roster, they banked everything on Kevin Durant. That's why the moment that Kevin Durant got injured, this team was in trouble because they lost all their depth. What they will still have, if and when Kevin Durant leaves, they will still have a 31-year-old Steph Curry, a 29-year-old Klay Thompson, and a 29-year-old Draymond Green, who up until this series was playing some of the best basketball of his career during these playoffs. That is a hell of a nucleus. And frankly, this team would then, if Kevin Durant goes out the door, go back to that old style of Warriors basketball that we all fell in love with 5 years ago when they completely upended the NBA and completely, frankly, changed the sport of basketball as we knew it. So I do not think that this team's dynasty is necessarily over. Obviously, there are plenty of other teams in the NBA that are rising as the Warriors would be sort of cresting a little bit, notably these Toronto Raptors. But look, they still have a great core, and that's an enviable core that any team in the NBA would want.
So game this out a little bit for us. How do you expect Monday night's game to go?
I think I expect the Raptors to frankly blow them out. I mean, Kevin Durant is the biggest question mark that hangs over this entire series. If Kevin Durant comes back, I think it's entirely possible that situation that I outlined for you could happen. But we just don't know. This calf injury is it's the definition of a day-to-day injury. Steve Kerr hasn't known for weeks what it's going to look like tomorrow, much less how it's going to look like a few days out. Kevin Durant comes back, yes, the Warriors can and maybe would win this series. But without KD, I mean, what have we learned through this entire series? The Raptors right now, they simply look like the better team. They've won 13 of the 16 quarters. They've outscored the Warriors. It's not like they've squeaked by on luck during this series. The Raptors have been the better team.
So before I let you go, I do want to ask you about a slightly more serious topic about the Warriors part owner, Mark Stevens. You know, he was suspended for a year and fined $500,000 for shoving the Raptors' Kyle Lowry. Do you believe this was an adequate enough punishment by the NBA?
Yeah, you know, some people have criticized it as too harsh. Some people have said not harsh enough. I mean, 1 year you can't go to games and you're fined $500,000. I know that's a bit of a drop in the bucket to an ultra-rich guy like Mark Stevens, but this is Adam Silver sending a message. The NBA has had this pop up occasionally throughout this year, none bigger than what happened in Utah with the fan altercation with Russell Westbrook. That was what made headlines. And this league has always been the league that skews more player control than management control, than owner control, more than the NFL, more than Major League Baseball, more than hockey. The NBA is a league that I think values its players and lifts up its players. So does it surprise me that the league came down in a very harsh way on Mark Stevens? Absolutely not. I think it is absolutely appropriate. There's no place in that for just your average everyday fan. There's no place for that in this game. There's certainly not a place for that in this game when you're a part owner of a team.
Reid Forgrave, thanks for joining us, Reid.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You bet.